What's up everybody, my name's Oz, this is Big Swing Golf. Today you join me back here with the SWO crew, so we're going to be meeting up with Ollie in a second. So just an update on my golfer's elbow injury. Huge improvement. So Ollie's been giving me a program to help support me in getting back to health and hopefully getting back on the course again, and it's doing brilliantly. I'm so impressed. So what we wanted to do today is just go through a few exercises that I've been doing. Obviously make sure you check with a professional before you do these, but hopefully it will give you as a guide for something you can try to see if you get improvement, to help you get back on those course. If you didn't see our first video as well, I'm going to link it up here right now. Okay, so go check that out so you can get some idea of what causes the injury, what could be causing the injury, and potential routes of treatment that you could take. Okay, so make sure you go check that out first before we get into today's video. Right, let's go check out Ollie and see what he's got planned for me. Caught up with Ollie, so he's going to just do a kind of assessment on how the elbow's feeling, right Ollie?
Yeah, so we'll go through some assessments now. So there'll be some passive active ranges, then we'll go through a bit of a demo in terms of you doing some active resistance against me. Then we'll go next door and then we'll start off with some mid-stage rehab, and we'll talk about what we did before in the early stage rehab and kind of developing your program further.
Brilliant. Go on then Ollie, see what you think.
So developing what we've gone through the tests and through our assessments, we're coming into a rehab studio now, and then what we're going to do is just expose it to some of the exercises and see if we can kind of expose it to some load and then try and create that adaptive change within the tissues. Therefore then we can kind of increase our tolerance capacity, get back into golf, and then hopefully create a pain-free environment for the elbow. Okay, so these exercises now are going to be more of your early stage rehab, and then once you develop through your plan, you can start incorporating these more in your warm-ups when you're going into your mid-stage rehab or even into your late-stage rehab. So kind of a change and adapts as your symptoms change and as you progress through. So the first one we're going to do is really simple. This is a bit of mobility coming down to this position, and then what we're going to do is come up and then wide, so we're going to have a bit of a flossing technique going through as well. So we go on, if we don't do a proper floss, we come through here and then bring it away from this area here. So what this does is just stretch the peripheral nerves around here, and then we can kind of go in from that position and then move the wrist as well.
And these are the movements I'm really good at, Ollie, isn't it?
Absolutely. Another one we can do is we're going to come onto our knees now, and then what we're going to do, we're going to plant our wrists on the floor, and then we're just going to go into an extension movement here of the wrist, and these are just generally adding an active and passive range and create a bit of load for the muscles, but very low level. And then from that position we're going to go the other way if you can tolerate this, so you've got the mobility. And then what I'm going to do is just sit back onto my hands and just add a little bit of a stretch. So generally these ones just act as a lengthening of the muscle belly, and so we're adding a bit of a stretch in that range as well. So if we come to a kneeling position, Oz, and then what we're going to do is your hand is going to be on there, and you're just going to, so both your hands, so you're going to be in that position there like that.
Like that.
That's it. So now we're just introducing a similar range now, but we're using the other hand to actually get it into extension. And then you can really sort of put those passive stretches going through, active stretches going through the forearms, and just feeling those nice muscles just become a bit more supple.
I don't think it's possible for my muscles to become supple.
So progressing on from those exercises, we're going to add into a bear squat. So what we need to do, we need to come into this position here. We're going to have our feet on the wall here and knees off the floor. And then what we're going to do is just come down and then back up. So we're not actually moving the wrists and the forearms too much, but what we're adding is a load of our body weight into that surrounding areas of the elbows and the wrist, which is a really nice, really easy movement. So we've got high load, but not really too much movement going through here. So it's a very great exercise you can do with an early stage rehab if you can tolerate it, but then really nice progression through to your mid-stage rehab too. If you're looking to do some more golfing primers, so priming exercise just to warm things up, you can do it the day before, or actually when you're on the course, it's like, oh, I want to start loading, doing some more resistance. So grab the water bottle from the kind of mid portion of the water bottle, and you can support the elbow and then go into your pronation and supination movements, and then go into your extended and flexing movements here. And the great thing is, if you're using the water bottle, you can actually do this on the court. So just when you get to the when you're teeing off, you can start just doing these exercises, just really warming up those muscles and those surrounding tendons as well, to make it a little bit harder. So grab the water bottle at the end, and then from here, again, support the elbow, and then you can go into your supination and pronation, and then go into your extension and flexion of the wrist. So again, you can do this at home, so it's very accessible, as well whilst you're teeing off. You do this on the golf course as well. If you're at home and you don't have accessible to bands or anything gym related, you can actually use a towel. You don't need to necessarily use a band. Ideally, you would need one of these. So grab this band. What we're gonna do is a bit of a 2-for-1 exercise. So we're gonna get into an isometric hold at about 90-degree angle of the elbow, shoulder to elbow to the wrist. And then we're actually going to be engaging a bit more of the cuff, this one as well. But what we're going to try and do to adapt it more specifically for the elbow around these areas is then we can go into flexing of the wrist and then go into extension. So you can see now these flex and extents of the muscles are just switching on. And then if you're doing it with a towel, obviously it's not going to have the elasticity like the band has. So what we're going to try and do is hold it in that 90-degree, and then we're going to kind of really extend it and push against it and push my wrist upwards, okay? And that's what's going to create an isometric hold. You can do 3 lots of 20 seconds, and if you're really sort of brave, you can build up to 45-second hold. So you're going to hold this for 45 seconds, and that's going to create a really nice isometric hold, contraction within there. So what we're trying to achieve here is these surrounding muscles here, we're going to try and switch on. That's it. And then what you can do is, if you can't tolerate the full range, you can stay in this position here. So go into that extension, hold it there. So again, if you can hold that for 20 seconds, 3 rounds of, brilliant.
Ooh,
how's that feeling, Oz?
Yeah, great.
Really good?
Yeah, really good.
Okay, so what we've got here, we're going to be using a band and a plate on an Olympic bar. You can get devices at home, which is basically a wooden bar with a bit of string with a weight on the bottom, very accessible. It's about less than $5 from Amazon. And then what you can do, hold onto the bar like this. This is going to be our stabilizing hands. We're not going to let the bar move. And then this one is basically like a bike throttle, holding it here and then going into extension. Really nice, slow, stable movements. And you can see the plate coming up. So once it comes to the top here, this one holds, and then what we're going to do, this one comes the opposite way. So holding it there, coming through, and then just flexing the wrist back into neutral, into extension, then the other way around. So we're now adding a bit of an eccentric load on here, and then we can go back into concentric phase if we can tolerate. Otherwise, if you can't tolerate those movements, what you can do is just hold it again in that 45 seconds isometric hold to create as much stimulation as we can within these surrounding muscles, which will stimulate those tendons around where we're feeling it. Arm into extension.
Ooh.
And then you're going to feel that contract. That's it.
So that's kind of like your break, and this is your go.
That's it. You got it. So from there, bring it back up. There we go. So you've got another 3 repetitions in there. Good. So nice control. So we'll probably get 1 more in there. So get 1 more rep.
Yeah.
That's it. Okay, so in this next exercise, this is going to be more mid-stage, kind of late-stage rehab. So what we're going to do, we're going to grab a dumbbell. Again, you can grab a lighter weight, such as like a water bottle, and then we're going to go from a hammer curl position, and then we're going to come down. So you've got this area where we're going to come down to the neutral position, and coming up into end range. And if you can only tolerate this range here, that's absolutely fine. So you can kind of go lightweight into that degree there, and then into the end range. And what we're trying to do, we're engaging those supinated of the muscles around the elbow here, and that's what we're going to try and increase the tolerance capacity within these surrounding tissues. Okay, and then what we're going to do to progress this is supinate the wrist, come down, and then we're going to kind of go into supination and pronation movement with the wrist. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to do some more exercises. We're going to use a bench and a dumbbell. So what we're going to do, plant our elbow onto the bench, and then what we're going to do is go into flexion and extending of the wrist. So back and forth. So we're using these surrounding tissues around the tendons to really engage them. And then to progress that forward, we can hold on to the end of the dumbbell here, and again go into that extended of the wrist and into the flexing position, and then adds a little bit of more load, and then from the flex and extending we're going to go into that pronation and supinating movement here. Again, we're just exposing it to light load of the tendon, so then we can create that adaptive change, and therefore those tissues will get stronger, and then you'll increase your tolerance capacity generally. There we go. So if we're finding we're getting some symptoms, as long as it's kind of low level pain score below a 3, then if we can tolerate it, brilliant. If it's hurting too much, then we need to either reduce the load or change the exercise.
Okay. So this isn't the exercise to do in the gym if you're trying to like impress the girls, basically. Right, guys, you join us at the end of that little workout. Ollie's going to carry on putting me through some pain. Yeah, hopefully you found some nuggets of knowledge in there that you can take away, go to your own gyms, try it out. Obviously, if you do have concerns, make sure you get in touch with a professional, okay? Someone like Ollie. If you want to speak to Ollie, all SWO's details are going to be in the description below, okay? Get in touch, all right? Again, like, subscribe, comment below what else you want us to do, see, all right? My name's Oz, this is Big Swing Golf, and we will see you next time.